There's a sound that does not exist anymore. Not the way it used to. It was a sound that rattled your chest at the drag strip before the tree even dropped. A sound that shook the windows of the dealership showroom when the salesman turned the key. That sound was a big block V8 at full song. We are not talking about just any V8. Today we are talking about the monsters, the behemoths. The engines that made engineers nervous, accountants furious, and gearheads absolutely ecstatic. Some of these engines were born for the street. Some were born for the track. A few were born for war. And one, exactly one, was so radical that NASCAR banned it before it ever turned a competitive lap. Today we count down the most powerful big block V8 engines of all time, ranked not by legend alone, but by engineering ambition, verified output, and historical impact. If you love American iron the way we do, hit that subscribe button right now so you do not miss what is coming. We open with the remarkable 426 Hemi. There are engines, and then there is the 426 Hemi, the street Hemi, introduced in 1966 after Chrysler's racing version had been terrorizing NASCAR and NHRA since 1964, is arguably the most mythologized American performance engine ever built. And here's the thing about mythology. Sometimes the legend is actually true. The 426 Hemi used a true hemispherical combustion chamber, a dome-shaped design that placed the spark plug at the center of the combustion event, with intake and exhaust valves on opposite sides of the chamber. The heads flowed like nothing else on the street. The engine was backed by either a heavy-duty 4-speed or the legendary 727 Torque Flight automatic. 425 horsepower was the factory number. The actual output, measured by independent testing and confirmed by the quarter-mile times these cars ran, was consistently measured at 500 to 515 horsepower in street trim. The 426 Hemi is the definitive American big block performance engine. Now let's go over an engine that a lot of people overlook. Buick 455, Stage 1. The 1970 Buick 455. Stage 1 is, by almost any honest measure, one of the greatest street performance engines ever bolted into an American automobile. Buick had been quietly developing their big block program through the late 1960s, and when they dropped the Stage 1 package into the GSX and the GS455, the automotive press did a double-take. On paper, Buick rated it at 360 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. But here's what the enthusiast community figured out almost immediately. Those numbers were sandbagged. The ratings were conservative by design, partly to keep insurance companies from losing their minds, and partly because Buick played it close to the vest. Independent dyno tests and quarter-mile times told a very different story. The Buick 455 Stage 1 deserves every bit of the respect it is finally getting. A torque monster dressed in a businessman's suit. Let's move across the hall to Lansing, Michigan, where Oldsmobile was doing something a little different with their big block program. The Oldsmobile 455 with the W30 package was, in many ways, the most underrated performance engine to come out of the General Motors empire in 1970. 1970 was a very crowded year for General Motors performance. Rated at 370 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque, the W30 Oldsmobile 455 was actually installed in a relatively lightweight package, the 442 body, which meant it moved with the kind of authority that surprised a lot of people at the stoplight. The W30 cars are genuinely collectible today, and rightly so. Oldsmobile's engineering department knew exactly what they were doing. Now we go back in time. Back to when the horsepower wars were just getting hot. Back to 1962, when Pontiac's racing division was doing things that the corporate office barely knew about and definitely was not supposed to be doing. The 421 Super Duty is one of the most significant race engines in American automotive history, and it came wrapped in a passenger car. Pontiac's engineers included Seaman Bunky Knudsen, who had championed Pontiac's performance direction before moving to Chevrolet, and the legendary Pete Estes and John DeLorean. They were deep in NASCAR and drag racing, and the 421 Super Duty was their weapon. In top drag racing trim, with the dual quad setup, the 421 Super Duty was producing numbers closer to 500 horsepower or beyond. It terrorized NHRA Super Stock competition in 1962 and 1963 before GM issued its racing ban, and Pontiac was forced to step back from factory involvement. This engine is the ancestor of every serious Pontiac performance engine that followed. It proved that a factory could build a genuine racing engine and sell it to the public. A landmark, a weapon, a piece of American racing history. Let's talk about the Ford 428 Cobra Jet. By 1968, Ford had a problem. They had the 427, which we'll get to, but it was expensive to build, finicky to maintain, and too brutal for everyday street use. Ford needed a street warrior, something a dealership could sell, a mechanic could service, and a driver could actually live with. So they built the 428 Cobra Jet. Ford rated it at a laughable 335 horsepower, a number so obviously wrong the automotive press called Ford out almost immediately. Car and driver tested a Cobra Jet Mustang in 1968 and recorded a 13.56-second quarter mile at 106 miles per hour, which is physically impossible from a 335 horsepower car. Real output was closer to 400 to 410 horsepower. The Super Cobra Jet, the 428 SCJ, added an external engine oil cooler, stronger connecting rods, and a mechanical fuel pump delete, making it the dedicated drag racing version. It was the engine you ordered if you were serious about the strip. We're just past the halfway point, and it only gets more intense from here. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel right now and drop a comment below. Tell us which of these engines you've owned, worked on, or just dreamed about. We read every one of those comments. Now let's keep going. Now we arrive at one of the most deliberately deceptive engines General Motors ever produced, and we mean that as the highest possible compliment. The Chevrolet 427 L88 was a racing engine. In the most brazen act of corporate misdirection in muscle car history, General Motors rated it at 430 horsepower, the same as the tamer L71 3-carb 427. The real number? Depending on the source and configuration, from 530 to 560 horsepower. Some estimates go higher, and it proved itself on the track. L88 Corvettes were competitive at Le Mans. They won GT class races. In SCCA competition, they were absolutely brutal. Production numbers for the L88 across its 3 model years are documented at approximately 196 total units, making L88 Corvettes among the most valuable and sought-after American collector cars in existence today. If you find a genuine documented L88 car, you have found something extraordinarily rare. Let's move over to the Boss 429. Ford built the Boss 429 for one reason: NASCAR homologation. To race an engine at Daytona, you had to sell it to the public, and Ford wanted to race the 429 in the 1969 season. So they did what automakers did in that golden era. They figured out the minimum number of street cars they had to build, and they built them. The result was one of the most exotic cylinder head designs ever to leave an American factory. Ford rated the Boss 429 at 375 horsepower. You already know what we are going to say. The real number, in street trim, was somewhere around 500 horsepower. In NASCAR trim, the 429 made considerably more. Some estimates put the race-prepared versions north of 600 horsepower. It should be noted that while the Boss 429 was homologated for NASCAR use, Ford continued running the 427 in early 1969 competition while the 429 program was being sorted. The homologation story is real. The transition was more complicated than a clean handoff. The Boss 429 is an engine of extraordinary engineering ambition. It was technically ahead of nearly everything on the street in 1969, and it gave us one of the greatest Mustangs ever built. Now let's talk about the Ford 427 single overhead cammer. This engine never competed in NASCAR. It was banned before it ever raced, and it may be the most technically extraordinary American V8 engine ever built, period. The Ford 427 single overhead cam, the cammer, was Ford's response to the 1964 Chrysler Hemi that had just obliterated the competition at Daytona. Ford's engineers went to work, and what they came up with in a remarkably short period of time was a 427 cubic inch big block with a single overhead camshaft on each cylinder bank. 2 valves per cylinder were actuated directly by the overhead cam, with a gear-driven cam drive system that climbed the front of the engine like a cathedral tower. An engine that looked from the front like nothing else on Earth. In naturally aspirated drag racing trim, the 427 single overhead cam was producing between 600 and 700 horsepower. In forced induction drag racing applications, with superchargers or nitromethane, the numbers became genuinely difficult to estimate. There is no more radical, no more ambitious, no more technologically extraordinary American big block V8 than the 427 single overhead cam. It was and remains in a class of one. Before we go, we have to acknowledge one extraordinary outlier. One engine that breaks every category. One engine that didn't go into a muscle car or a Corvette or a drag car. It went into a tank. The Ford GAA V8, in a conventional 60-degree layout, was a 1,100 cubic inch aluminum engine derived from Ford's aircraft engine program, built to power the M4 Sherman tank during World War II. It produced approximately 450 to 500 horsepower, and it was one of the most reliable power plants of the Allied war effort. These weren't just engines. They were statements. They were proof of what this country could do when it put its best minds on a problem and said, "Make it faster." We will never see their like again, and that's exactly why we remember. Thank you for watching, and if you made it to the end of this video, you are exactly the kind of person this channel exists for. Subscribe now if you have not already, share this video, and leave a comment below with your all-time favorite big block. We will see you in the next one. Keep the revs up.